So welcome. So this is Escape Pod. Um, my name is Sean McComber. I'm a professor at UT Dallas in the Animation and Games program, and with me is Todd Fector,
Hello.
who is also a professor at UTD. Um, so we can give a more detailed introduction, I guess, maybe in a little bit. But what I wanted to describe kind of is what we had in mind for this channel and why we're doing this at all. Uh, what Todd and I were looking for was kind of a place where we could record and show our research projects from here at UTD. Um, so the things that we're currently working on, whether it's a short film or could be classwork, anything like that we're working on, any creative project, we wanted to be able to show off, but also to interact with students or with the general public, and get feedback or use it as a learning experience. So that's kind of what we had in mind for this place. There'll be other things that happen along the way. Certainly, we've looked at getting industry experts, especially if they apply to the projects that we're working on. Uh, but I think we also wanted to provide a place for certainly our students and a way to engage them and so that they can ask questions since we're kind of in obviously an odd time right now. So I'll give just a little bit of background about myself real quick. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design as a computer art major, but my focus was in animation. Um, a little bit after I graduated there, I started at a company called Rhythm and Hues, which was a visual effects company. I worked there for a little bit. Ended up coming back here to Dallas to work at Real Effects. I worked on a movie called Open Season 2. Actually, before that, at Rhythm and Hues, my first movie that I started on was Alvin and the Chipmunks. So after Real Effects, went back to Rhythm and Hues, where I stayed for quite a while as an animator, as a lead animator, and then also as a supervising animator. So I worked on various movies there. Traveled over to India to work with their Mumbai office and supervise a movie over there, Land of the Lost. Uh, Eventually left there, went into games as a senior cinematics animator. Worked on a game at a place called Sucker Punch. I worked on Infamous 2. And after that, made my way here to University of Texas at Dallas, where I've been here for about 8 or 9 years. That's me in a nutshell, or at least professional wise. Uh, there's a lot more to me than just that, I guess. Hopefully, there's more to me
So
than just
deep.
that.
You're so deep.
uh, all right, Todd.
So my name is Todd Fector, like Sean mentioned earlier, and um, my background is actually in industrial design. So I went to the Ohio State University where I majored in industrial design for my undergrad. I graduated from that program, and I spent a summer up at Ford designing trucks, and decided that I wanted to do animation and not design things because animation was always something I was interested in. So I went back to graduate school, was able to learn animation through graduate school. Upon graduation, I was able to get a gig. My first job was down at DNA Productions here in Dallas, Texas, working on the adventures of Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius TV series for Nickelodeon. So I worked on that for a number of different years, and then while we were developing that project, a film project came along called The Ant Bully, and I served as a modeling supervisor on that particular film. And then that studio kind of fell apart, so to speak. So I jumped over to another place called Element X Creative, which is also here in town, and did a lot of worked on different commercials and direct-to-video things there. But in the meantime, I had already started teaching here at UT Dallas as a adjunct professor, and decided that I really did enjoy teaching even more than I enjoyed being in industry. Um, So it wasn't long after I was able to get a full-time position here at UTD, and basically my work from that point on was kind of the beginnings of building up this the animation program and defining more people to bring into it, and then so we can, as a whole, all build it together. So I've been here now for a number of years. I still do a lot of freelance work on the side, so I do modeling work still for some films. And on top of that, my real kind of goal right now is to develop my own projects. So I've made some short films that got in a couple festivals, and now it's about getting back to that, creating our own content and making cool things, and more importantly, showing people how we're doing some of this stuff. So I think, like you mentioned earlier, Sean, that's kind of the draw to having this kind of channel and this kind of outlet to people, is basically just show them what we're doing outside of the normal day to day, and some of the things that we want to kind of put out there and what our interests really are and how that's kind of driving our creativity. So that is me.
All right. So what I thought might be good is to just kind of look at the types of projects that we're doing right now and what's involved with them. Um, for instance, some of the stuff that I've done in the past has been working with Toon Boom Harmony. So that's a project, or that's a program that I would like to explore a little bit more with some of the work that I do from here on. So things that might be popping up on this channel are how to rig characters through that, and I'll be doing it while I am working on a short film, right? So you can see the process of creating that short film, but also the day-to-day or nuts and bolts of how to actually do things within Harmony, so that you can apply those if you want to apply those to your own projects. But what I think would be really useful is, this streaming platform. You can watch me do it in real time and ask questions, but also the other things that we're kind of looking at doing are creating, self-contained, pre-made videos, could be time lapses or whatever, of that same kind of stuff. And I think what would be good, and what is nice about this kind of format, especially since we're dealing with some students, is that you can give us feedback, but also, like, what do you need to see? What are things that would be helpful? So it's a give and take, right? It's not just here's our stuff, enjoy it. It's here's our stuff, what can you learn from it, and what would help you in what you are doing, so that it's not just so that we're working together. Do you have anything to add to that, Todd?
No, I think that nails it. I mean, the whole point of this, like Sean said, is to kind of show you what we're doing. And I think a lot of it is outside, most all of it's outside of our curriculum right now in terms of what we would do inside the school. See, a lot of this is also going to be things that get carried forward into the curriculum as we go, potentially. So it's kind of a look into potential futures in terms of some of maybe our classes, but that. Yeah, just being able to have conversations about some of the things that we're trying, and hopefully what would be really cool is that if we have people out there watching who can also point things out, say, hey, maybe try this, maybe try that. Again, just kind of some of that give and take and kind of back and forth that we want to have in terms of conversation.
Yeah, definitely. Let me bring up. Sorry, Todd, I'm going to cover you up for a second.
Oh, probably for the better.
So, for instance, we'll pull that up right there. So this is one of the projects that we're going to be working on immediately. Something that I've had out there for a while. It's called Boxers and Briefs. So we've got these two characters. And we are already storyboarding the first episode. It's going to be really short, 1 to 2 minutes, things that we can hopefully turn around quickly. We don't want to make, 8 to 10 minute epics. And these will be done all in Toon Boom Harmony. So I'm about to start rigging these characters and creating the whole setup. And that's something that we will probably either stream, most likely we'll stream, or also create self-contained videos. So pretty excited about that. And it'll probably be a series, pretty silly. of just these small videos that we can kick out pretty quickly, hopefully quickly, if we're doing it correctly. But I think that would be something, I think, as what we're doing here at UTD, something that hopefully can kind of grow. So that's definitely one of the projects that we're working on. Some of the other things, we have other things that we're also working on, but some of the ideas that we've thought of for this channel also include industry interviews. So getting our friends or contacts and providing that as a resource. And again, I think that's a great, the streaming aspect is a great avenue for that. So not only can we have a conversation, but then those who are watching can chime in as well. I think that would be great. So professionals, definitely probably UTD alumni. We've already talked to some who are definitely interested. So those will be happening. We didn't kind of say it at the beginning, but our plan right now is every Tuesday at 10 to have something where we're streaming. Whether that's an hour or 2 hours or whatever, but that's the goal right now. Every Tuesday at 10, so that'll be a recurring thing. If we expand and do something different, then obviously we'll add it at a different time. Maybe Tuesday at 10 isn't a great time for all of our students or whoever is watching. Obviously there'll be a record for that, but we can pick some different times that can maybe work as well. So those things are kind of in our heads to do as well. So, and again, any feedback that we get from you is, hey, I'd love to hear from this type of artist or someone from this studio. I'd love to ask questions. That's something that we can certainly do. And to go along with that, we've also thought of, to make it more fun and again engaging and to see what you guys can do, to provide some contests and whatever those might be. We haven't really thought about the specific contest, but then have some rewards for that. So those I think will be coming, obviously not quickly right now, but down the road. Do you have anything you wanted to add?
Well, I'm going to show a couple other things. So you should be able to see this. Maybe.
Yep, you can see it.
There we go. So King's Aces is another one of the projects that we're going to be showing some things on. And this is something that we've been working on for quite a couple of years at this point, in terms of variations and whatnot. And this is more of a longer form. This isn't really short. This is more of like a pilot type thing. And how do you go about approaching something that, you're trying to set up, basically in this case, a larger story, things like that. That really interests me in terms of story and developing story and kind of putting those things out there. And just a quick glimpse, some of this looks something along these lines, but again, it's a bit of a different show, some different things that are happening inside of it. Some of it's kind of timely, I think, based on what's happening right now. The other thing that I was going to show you is, let's see, stuff like this. Oops, hold on a second. Let me share the other one. So how-tos. In this case, how we're developing some of these things through storyboarding. And some of this, we're using some creative approaches where it's not just traditional 2D storyboarding, drawing by hand. We're combining 3D elements, things like that, to create animatics that can go through and really describe what should be happening should this kind of move forward and be made into a proper animation. So those are some of the things that we'd like to be talking about and showing as we go along.
Yeah, I think it's that stuff is really interesting, or can be interesting, especially the process that Todd is kind of going through to create that storyboard. Again, not necessarily conventional, but gets the job done. And a lot of the stuff that we're doing is really more about that. Like, we're finding our way, and I think that's important. There's only one way to do it. There's multiple ways to do it, and this is the way we do it. It maybe it's not always the most efficient or the cleanest, but it is a way to do it. and we want to kind of document that and just show it off. So I'm gonna sorry, I'm gonna cover Todd up again. You might notice as we get better at the streaming element, hopefully this gets a little bit more refined, so that we're not just constantly covering people up. But again, this is the way we figured out how to do it. This was the short that I worked on, called Monster Docs. Whoops, it went away. There we go. And in this, so I created this over a year or so ago. And this was my test case to learn Toon Boom Harmony. Didn't know how to use it at all, and this is the first experience I ever had in creating it. And I'm not saying that it's the most beautiful thing in the entire world, but for never knowing the program and figuring out as I went how to rig characters and how to put things together. I won't play it, so that audio will get maybe a little bit annoying. But these are the kind of things that we're going to be doing, and I think will be pretty exciting. I know going forward with boxes and briefs, we want to, or at least I want to, create a little bit more complex or sophisticated animation and figure out how to do that with Harmony. I know how to do it in CG animation in Maya, and now I want to figure out how to do it through here and this kind of stuff. And that's not to say if those who are watching have things that they want to see in Maya, like, hey, it would really help me out if you spent 1 hour showing how to do one thing and whatever inside of Maya and some form of animation. That can certainly happen. There's nothing wrong with that. That's kind of probably my area of expertise, animation within CG. Likewise with Todd, his expertise kind of falls in modeling within Maya and CG programs. So those are things that certainly can happen, and hopefully that's a dialogue that can happen between us and whoever's watching. So again, coming back to that feedback. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we're just getting started. So we're going to kind of feel this out as we go and kind of see what works and what doesn't work and kind of trial and error. But I like to think of this as like everything that Sean, that we've worked on is kind of more of the GarageBand approach, where it's kind of like we're going to make something and we're going to make it and figure out different things. But it's not about making it perfectly, in terms of, smoothest pipelines and things like that. It's more about we're going to make something and we're going to try this and see what happens and try that and see what happens. And just kind of experiment as we go. So hopefully that'll be kind of fun to watch and kind of see what we're kind of toying with.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes kind of the fun part. There are pros to watching somebody who is like really, really good at whatever their skill is, and you just watch them and try to repeat it, right? And then there's something that's also good about, I'm going to try it and it's going to work, but it's not going to be the most perfect thing, but this is how I got to that solution. I think there's value in that. There are pros to that as well. Just because you're using a little bit more creative thinking sometimes, not to say that you're not thinking creatively when you do it, perfectly the correct way, following certain steps. But I think when you approach something and it's just like, I'm just going to jump in and figure it out, I think there's a lot of value to that along the way. You're going to build some skills. And that's sort of what we do a little bit. Sometimes it's a little bit messy.
No perfect scenarios here.
Yeah. And trust me, if I stream myself rigging a character in Harmony, it's going to be messy. I'm going to mess it up. So if there's anybody out there who has experience, feel free to shoot me some notes and don't be too harsh on critiquing me. But so again, today was really just a day for spelling out what we were thinking about doing, what we wanted to do, and the direction we wanted to go, and just a little bit of an introduction. Hopefully each week things get a little bit more polished with whatever, whether it's our setups here or our YouTube channel or whatever. So please feel free to, comment or whatever. Aren't you supposed to? People are supposed to subscribe, right? And it's over
Click the
there.
like, yeah.
Click
and
the
subscribe.
click the button. I can't get through to Todd's screen. It's over there somewhere. Subscribe or like. I don't know. I don't know if that's I think people always say it on YouTube. So do it. But other than that, every Tuesday at 10. That's the plan. So come back next week, 10 o'clock. Hopefully we'll see you there. And we can chat and see what's going on. All right? You have anything else, Todd?
Nothing.
All right. See you later.
See ya.